Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and I am finally going to talk about the Pussymelter. You can't say that, Levi. Well, I just did, so deal with it. I've been holding off on talking about this because I really wanted to cover it on the Guitar Souls podcast, and I will cover it on the podcast when I finally get Mike in this studio to actually do another podcast. He's been on holiday. I think he's back tomorrow, so we'll get on that soon. But yeah, it hurt to leave it as long as I have. I'd left it, and now it seems that, Rafaela Standell Preston? I've got the article here, has just written quite a smug article on pitchfork.com talking about why I fought the sexist gear community and won, in brackets. So yeah, if you're going to be smug like that, I feel that I probably need to, chime in and explain why some of the comments, it's possible to criticise you and not be a misogynist. It's possible to criticise you not because you're a woman, but because you're stupid. Now I'm going to try my damned to not say anything that could be misconstrued as misogynist. Misogyny is not my bag. Very, very easy to just write off everything I say by saying, oh, he's a misogynist, No, none of that is present here. A man could make these points that you've made, and I will make the same rebuttal to said points. So what am I talking about? Well, the band Steel Panther and their guitar player Satchel, very popular guitar player, recently released a preset for the company TC Electronic, and they called this preset the Pussymelter. Oh, well, that's quite bad, right? I mean, it is. If I released, a DVD saying the best way to melt pussy, I get it. Like, that doesn't work. But do you know who Steel Panther are? I mean, just take a second to look at them. It's almost like they don't take themselves all that seriously. And I know the defense to that is always going to be, oh yeah, but they're just closet misogynists. No. And it's not that they poke fun of everyone. They are satire. They are satirizing an entire generation of pop culture and an entire generation of music. You cannot take seriously what a band like that does. Satchel goes on stage wearing a wig. This isn't to be taken seriously. He goes on stage wearing his wedding ring because he's not willing to commit to the character, and it's a character, that much. The idea that saying something along the line, like a bombastic guitar player that stands up on stage and pretends to have billions of fans around the world, to stand up on stage and say that when I'm up here, all I'm up here to do is get all the girls in the front row wet. He's not being serious. I've been to Steel Panther gigs, and a decent portion of the attendees are women, which is an oddity for a metal show, but also a decent portion of the audience are men. It's somewhere in the middle. It's a 50-50. If you go to see any other metal band, if you go and see, I don't know, Slayer, you don't expect 50% of the audience to be women. It would be cool if it was. It would feel like a more inclusive environment, and I can understand why women might not want to go to a Slayer concert. But at a Steel Panther gig, it is so skewed in the direction of inclusivity for women that get the joke. They're not there. They aren't the punchline. I mean, I have seen Steel Panther and kind of felt a little bit that women were the punchline, but for the most part, they are there and they understand and they play along. We're groupies for the band, we're Steel Panther sluts. Like, cool. Just do your thing, have fun, and yeah, whatever. Anyway, so let's take a look at this article, Why I Fought the Sexist Gear Community and Won. Last week I signed an online petition and inadvertently opened a Pandora's box of misogyny. The protest was raised over a guitar effects preset called the Pussymelter, released by TC Electronics in collaboration with the guitarist Satchel, whose band Steel Panther is often referred to as a hair metal parody act. Let's just jump in here. What do you mean often referred to? That's absolutely what they are. Absolutely what they are. Go into their history. Where did this band come from? Did they just wake up one day and go, you know what we really, really want to do? We want to be in an 80s band. No, they played in a fucking 80s cover band. They had a residency in LA, and I should have done my research here. I'm pretty sure they were called Metal School. I believe that's right. They were called Metal School. And when their popularity kept going up, because everybody loves that throwback to the 80s thing. I was in an 80s style band at the time. Everybody loves that throwback. They were quite popular. It was like, cool, well, maybe we should write some originals and go out and, you know, we got a record deal, we're really popular. Let's not be metal school, let's do our thing. And, you know, Steel Panther, what a ridiculous name. Anyway, so Hair Metal Parody Act. As if the name of the preset didn't broadcast its intended audience, the description on TC Electronics' website left nothing to the imagination. Let me read this. Want to make a physical impact on your audience with an epic delay tone? Then Satchel's got you covered. When we met up with Satchel's oh-so-humble guitarist, he had only one condition, that the tone be as wet as the ladies on the front row. With Pussymelter, that's exactly what you get, a delay tone which perfectly nails that heavy metal lead tone while simultaneously ensuring that the janitor ain't going home early. So if glam rocker solos and wet floor signs are your idea of a good time, then Pussymelter for flashback delay is definitely the tone print for you. Just read that and ask yourself if that's taken seriously. Do you think that's what they're pitching here? Do you think that any guitar company, anybody in the world, thinks that I can make an effect pedal that has a physical impact on the audience? That's literally going to make your body do involuntary things? No, it's not serious. And the evidence for this is go across all of TC Electronics' website and read their product descriptions for anything they've put out. And is the tone anything like this? No, the tone isn't anything like that. This is going into the realm of Steel Panther. The comments like the oh-so-humble guitarist. You know, if they genuinely thought that Satchel was a pompous asshole that needed to learn a bit of humility, they wouldn't work with him. When I was out interviewing, famous guitar players, I dreaded having to interview Steel Panther, not because I didn't respect or enjoy what they do, but because I knew that when you go into that world of talking to these guys, they amplify their characters and they just make it as entertaining and difficult to talk to them as possible. It's very hard when you're trying to get to the real person and ask the real questions. These guys just make a game out of making interviewers' lives miserable, and it's fun to watch. So I dreaded it because I also understood it. This isn't representative of what TC Electronics thinks, so don't try and push that. Anyway, she goes on to say, naturally, I and many others were offended by this. Of course you fucking were. Prompting guitarist Jessica Fennelly to draft the petition to discontinue the Pussymelter, which TC Electronic has soon done. Bravo, you won. You just haven't won. I don't think you understand. You won a battle at the cost of the war, and I know that's like a classic thing to say, but in this case, like, you feel like you've won, but you've done so much damage to your credibility. Anyway, so last Tuesday, after I signed the petition, I shared it on Twitter with the 10,000 or so people who follow the account of my band Braids. As musicians like Japanese Breakfast, Ted Leo and Emily Rio reacted to or shared the post, I quickly became the focal point of an online hate campaign. Within hours, I was called a cunt, a whore, and a fucking piece of shit hundreds of times. Now, I want to interject here and say that's a shame. That genuinely is a shame, and I'm sorry that that has happened to you. I'm not going to say that's part of being on the internet, but it happens, and you have to have a thicker skin. I get called all manner of things, and it's water off a duck's back. You can't upset me. I just do my thing, and if you don't like me, that's absolutely fine. What happened to you there absolutely shouldn't have happened to you, but much like you'll hear people say, not all Muslims, which is, of course, true. You can't say that, but then say all fans of Steel Panther. You can't say all fans of TC Electronic. You can't say all guitar players. What you've seen there is a small subsection of a community which largely, by and wide, they don't get the seal of approval from anyone on the scene. It's an immature reaction. And I get it, I understand. Some people don't have the intelligence to come out with a point, make a point and have a discussion and explain to you why they feel you're wrong. So they go in with vitriol, they go in with poor language like that. It's not acceptable. I don't encourage my audience to do it. But at the same time, if my audience were to do that, ultimately I'm not in control of my audience. Steel Panther aren't in control of their audience. They can't change who likes them and what those people think is acceptable. So apologies for that. I don't know why I'm apologising. I didn't fucking do it. Anyway, so hundreds of times, Braid's social media accounts were hacked and targeted with abusive comments left all over unrelated Facebook posts and Instagram photos. A prominent metal vlogger branded me a hypocrite, since one of Brave's music videos is set in bed and sold "It's far easier to sit around and bitch" t-shirts and posters in my honour. Even the addresses and phone numbers of my bandmates were posted on Twitter, proving that doxing can extend to male musicians if they're aligned with a publicly outspoken woman. So if you go back and read that, it's almost like you're trying to set up some sort of victim persona. And the last part you've put there is that you're a publicly outspoken woman. And I get it. It's easy to do that. It's easy to say the reason I'm being attacked is because I'm a woman. No, the reason you're being attacked is because you're stupid. People can see that you're stupid, and it's not because you're a woman. It's because you've bought into an idea. You've bought into an idea that Steel Panther are out to hurt you. You've bought in this idea that Steel Panther are out to be taken seriously and to change the world. They are the polar opposite of a band that will be taken seriously or change the world. They're a bit of fun, and there's an audience of people that enjoy what they do and don't take it seriously. I've not seen Steel Panther in years and years and years. I would obviously take the opportunity to see them if they were in town, and I wouldn't go down thinking, yes, this is my chance. I can go back to treating women like dirt. No, I would go down thinking this is a funny spectacle. It's not to be taken seriously. It's all in jest. And along with everyone else there, we'd all get it, including the women, who may be at 50%. And we'll come on to this later. I say maybe at 50% because I can't give you any stats for that. Almost like someone else might do something similar. Anyway, all in all, almost 1,000 people took time out of their lives to tell me that I am, in short, the reason people hate feminists, attempting to kill rock and roll, destroying free expression, and totally bereft of humour. I mean, it's true, isn't it? People like you are, honestly, like when they say killing feminism, people like you are the reason my wife won't identify as a feminist. So take from that what you will. People like you that spend all of their time bitching and moaning because TC Electronic have jumped into promote a satirical band. People like you who think that's a good cause, that's where feminism is needed, rather than, oh, I don't know, when Iran, where a woman last week was sentenced to, 35 years in prison for taking her veil off in public. That's where you're needed. You're not needed here. You're not needed. You're not doing any good here. You're not changing the world. You would be an embarrassment to feminists, first and second wave feminists, an absolute embarrassment. So, yeah, totally bereft of humour. While I've seen this, clearly not, you're still trying to make a career in music, and your career in music is a bigger joke now than this ever was, because you will only be remembered for this, and you have to take a step back and think to yourself, why are people so upset by what I've done here? Do they maybe have a point? Could there potentially be a point? Could we sit down and have some civil discourse? Is there some room for discussion here? Do they have some points that maybe ultimately I'm not going to agree with? I'm not going to change my mind, but can I see where the other person is coming from? I can see where you're coming from. I understand your position, but I don't believe this is where your energies are needed. But well done, you think you've changed the world. So anyway, sorry. While I've seen this kind of attack play out online many times before, poor me, this experience has taught me firsthand that women who fight against misogynistic language will be told that their concerns are unimportant compared to everything else going on in the world. Damn it, you've got me. Because I've already done that, haven't I? But am I right? Am I right? What I've done, you may have done the same, but I've been very vocal here. What I've done is drawn attention to an injustice that's happened to a woman in a country that has a long way to go in terms of equality between genders. You took away an effect. Do you think you've changed anyone's mind? Do you think that fans of Steel Panther, or Steel Panther themselves, do you think that this has happened and they've gone, you know what? She's right. No one has ever changed their mind by being silenced. Apparently, noting that something is sexist is pointless. Yet arguing its pointlessness is a constructive use of time. Well, that's true. That's absolutely true. You should always be willing to discuss ideas. Discussing ideas on the free market of ideas, that's how we progress as people. You haven't discussed this, you've just tried to take it away. So, yeah, these folks claim that Steel Panther's exploitation of women is part of their parody of the 80s glam metal debauchery. All in good fun, they say. Their inability to even hear my critique suggests to me that the the parody female degradation extends beyond the stage and into the behaviour of Steel Panther's fans. It may do. There may be a portion of Steel Panther's audience that don't get the joke. And I understand that maybe curtailing what they're able to say might change those people. But you have to understand that people that think that way don't think that way because of Steel Panther. They think that way because their ideas aren't challenged. Talk to them. Explain to them why these things are wrong. Trust me, people like me are explaining to these people why acting and behaving that way isn't right. Taking away this from them isn't going to achieve that. It's just going to make me point at you and say, stop being an idiot. Okay, so the funniest thing is, Steel Panther doesn't necessarily think of itself as a parody act. Citation needed. So you've gone with a quote here. The label of being a parody band is not something we put on ourselves, lead singer Michael Starr told LA Weekly 2 years ago, adding that the guys just truly sing about shit that makes us laugh. Cool. So, shit that makes us laugh. It's almost like they're trying to be funny. My issue with Steel Panther, the reason I don't listen to them all the time is because musically, they're not trying to do anything new. They're not trying to push any boundaries. They're not trying to say anything. It's comedy. It's musical comedy, which totally has its place, and I get that, but they don't take themselves seriously. I mean, Michael's the only one in the band that doesn't wear a wig. Anyway, oftentimes this meaning taking cheap shots at women and minorities. Okay, we've moved on to minorities. Cool. Sample lyrics. You're picking on a minority. You're picking on Steel Panther fans. They are a minority in the world. Just point that out. So sample lyrics from the song Asian Hooker. Find a geisha girl, take her for a whirl, wrap a tuna roll on my dick, and the bitch is on her knees. Sucky, fucky, sucky, fucky, sucky, fucky, smells like sushi. Comedic gold, right? I mean, I don't know if it's comedic gold. I can't defend it. I don't need to defend it. Like, I get what they're doing there. They're trying to be silly. They're trying to be funny. And they're dressing up in that old style and painting this idea that in the 80s, this was just it. This is a larger than life. We are caricatures. Why am I repeating myself? Though Steel Panther justify the songs by saying that they take aim at everyone equally, you didn't provide a quote for that. You just took one out of context quote trying to imply that they're not a parody band. From Mexican folks to fat girls, comedy is most effective when it's not punching down. No, fuck off. You don't get to decide when comedy is most effective. Comedy isn't effective anyway. Satire could be effective because satire has an aim. But comedy doesn't have to be effective. If you make someone laugh, even if it's one person, that comedy was effective. So fuck off telling me what I can and can't find funny. If you're punching down, or you deem it to be punching down, cool. Fine. But if people are laughing at it, it's done its job, hasn't it? And here's the thing, right? They sell more records than you, don't they? Probably quite a few more records than you. It's almost like their comedy is very effective. Very, very effective. It's interesting. I was introduced to Steel Panther by my girlfriend years ago because she loved them and all of her girlfriends loved them. And she was like, you need to check out this band. And I looked at the cover of the CD and I was like, this looks stupid as shit. No, thank you. And it took me a while to get around to it. And eventually I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah, all right, fair enough. Anyway, so mocking straight white horn dogs in spandex and Aquanet is one thing. The members of Steel Panther are commenting on their own kind. But when the jokes instead sexualise and belittle marginalised groups, women aren't a marginalised group, certainly not a minority, half of the population, and probably make up a decent portion of Steel Panther's market, the facade of parody falls apart. No, it doesn't. Because if you read a book, you should try that. And I'm going to quote a book that is an example of a book that maybe you shouldn't read if you consider yourself an intellectual. But if you read a book like The Dirt, which is the Motley Crue autobiography, everything that you read in there is true. Everything you read in there happened. If you read a book like trying to think of the name of it, David Lee Roth's book, Crazy from the Heat, I believe. David Lee Roth's autobiography. When you read those types of books, you're getting an insight into what life in that time really was like when you were that popular, you had that much money, and there was no accountability for anything that you did. Like when you watch a film like Rockstar, which the Mark Wahlberg film, which attempts to kind of paint that and show you or give you an idea of what that is like, you could watch that and go, well, this is an over-the-top representation of what people thought it was like. You could look at it that way, or you could listen to the people that were actually living the life like that in those days and know that, no, Rockstar actually probably couldn't touch half the things that these bands actually got up to. It's genuine. So you can't say that the facade of parody falls apart. It's a thing, and they're making a parody of it, because again, they go home to their wives. So there are potentially more serious consequences as well. By disguising expressions of prejudice in a cloak of fun and frivolity, disparagement humour appears harmless and trivial. Writes Thomas E. Ford, a professor of social psychology at Western Carolina University. So I assume he's not talking about this in particular. He's talking about, describing women as bitches, maybe. In social situations where people don't understand that he's not being serious. So, however, a large and growing body of psychology research suggests, I can read, I promise, suggests just the opposite, that disparagement humour can foster discrimination against targeted groups. Again, I can read. This is why I can't accept comedy as an automatic shield for offensive language. Cool, I'm glad that you can't, and that's all right, cool, happy. But other people can. Other people can do that. What more can I say there? Especially not in the rock world. Oh yeah, because the rock world, very serious, very, very serious. And definitely not when it concerns the topic of gear. And here's where you get into your thing, isn't it? It's in these more technical circles of music that women and non-binary players, well known for being inclusive, have been most excluded. Okay? Right. This exclusion extends to aspects as seemingly banal as the marketing of guitar pedals, whose titles occasionally reference female anatomy and misogynistic slang, camel toe and the screaming whore. I'm not going to mention all of the guitar pedals that make fun of men, like the Way Huge Pickle and things like that. No? Okay. Interesting. The Pussymelter ad copy puts me in the front row ogling the hot male guitarist, where my only job is to get super wet while he shreds a sick solo, as if I don't play guitar and as if there are no women playing. No, it doesn't. It's not painting all women to be in that position, is it? It's painting Steel Panther fans to be in that position. And if you read that and you get that and you go, I'm a Steel Panther fan, haha, yeah, that's what I do, that's what I'm there to do. That's who that's aimed at. It's not saying that's the job of women, is it? It's saying that is the front row. I'm absolutely confident that in an interview with Satchel, he would probably extend that further by saying to get all of those girls in the front row wet and to get all of those men hard as a rock. That's him. That's what he does. Here's the fun one. So I've talked about this before. 50% of buyers of new guitars in the last 5 years have been female. Evan Jones, Fender's head of marketing, told She Shreds in 2015. I'm going to say citation needed, and I mean it, because what you've got here is just a person saying it, and they're saying it to She Shreds magazine. I don't buy it. I simply don't buy it. I go in guitar shops. I know people that work in retail. It's just not the case. 50% of musical instruments are not bought by women. Maybe they should be. Maybe they shouldn't be. I don't believe in equality of outcome. I believe in equality of opportunity. All women have the opportunity to pick up a guitar if they want to, and if they don't want to, cool. I'm not going to make you pick up a guitar. It's a cool community. Some great people in it. Please come in. Be welcome. But if you want to go and do something else, by all means go and do something else. 50% of guitars sold aren't being sold to women. Shame or not? Look at it whatever way you want, but just because Evan Jones says it doesn't make it true. I've said that it's not true, and there you go. So here's a perfect example, right? If 50% of guitars that Fender sell are being sold to women, why are 50% of Fender's artists not women? That was loud, wasn't it? Why? Yeah. So the future of guitar and its associated effects gear is gender diverse, and companies are starting to recognise that. Even TC Electronic has promotional ads on its website targeting women guitarists, clearly in hopes of capturing a growing market. Yep. Yep, you're absolutely right. So which is it? Which is it? Are they misogynists or are they trying to capture the female market? And do they have the right to go for both? Do they have the right to put something up like that and also put things up that sell to women? Why don't you, if you're trying to, you know, make change and do better things in the world, why don't you maybe go for a campaign to encourage women to pick up a guitar and check out these positive marketing materials that are saying, go women, yay, cool? Why that than draw attention to the negative side of things? Again, you've not achieved anything. Yeah, if anything, you've just made a lot of people angry, which in turn might make women feel a bit less willing to get involved. So where was I? Why would you simultaneously alienate a large swath of your potential audience with a marketing campaign that has zero self-awareness? I mean, zero self-aware. It's totally self-aware. It's so self-aware you could call it fucking Skynet. TC Electronic did the right thing by quickly pulling Pussymelter and issuing an apology while still clinging to the parody excuse, mind you. Yeah. Funny that. And whether they did it because they legitimately saw the error of their ways or because they didn't want to lose the business of non-male guitarists remains to be seen. Yeah, I don't think they saw the error of their ways, because if they saw the error of their ways, they wouldn't associate with Steel Panther, would they? Don't think you've won here. You've not won until Steel Panther, you know, don't have a job. And you strike me as the sort of motherfucker that would go looking for a job lynch mob to get rid of them, wouldn't you? So you believe fiercely in free expression, allowed for and promoted by rock and roll. But as a woman working in this world, I'm tired of seeing my own kind denigrated and objectified, the butt of some eternal joke I can't figure out why we're laughing at. Indie rock is now a genre dominated by women. We play more substantial roles than the stereotypes of eye-catching vocalists, mysterious muse, or starstruck groupies suggest. And the truth is, we always have. Speaking out against TC Electronic is not censorship. No, of course not. I wouldn't choose to censor you from saying the things that you say. It's a reminder to the gear industry that it can no longer afford to leave women and non-binary players out of conversation. We comprise a huge percentage of creators and consumers, and we deserve an industry that represents reality, not bad jokes. It's almost like what you've drawn attention to here is one single example of a bad joke. One single example. So it's almost like the industry does actually represent reality, because if you look at reality, most of it is cool, everyone is cool, people are understanding, we're a more inclusive society than ever before. Awesome. But there's a percentage of society that like crass humour. I love crass humour. I love jokes that I wouldn't dare tell on this YouTube channel because I would immediately have it deleted. Immediately. That doesn't make me a bad person. I just like jokes that make people go, I can't believe he said that. Literally, the fun for me is that reaction from people, seeing people's reaction. I like to watch offensive humour with people that I know are very uncomfortable with offensive humour because of their reactions. That's the funny part. That kind of them coming to that realization that your feelings aren't protected here. When you go in to see comedy, I've made this analogy before. When you go and see a comedy show or you go and see a play, let's go with the play analogy. So you go see a play, you sit down, you watch what's happening, and there's an agreement to suspend the disbelief. There's an agreement between you and the people on stage that what's happening here isn't a perfect representation of reality. The moment you bought that ticket and walked through that door, when you watch somebody perform Macbeth, you don't stand up in the middle of the show and say, he's not really dead, he's just pretending, and he's not even a king. I saw him down Tesco's buying his groceries last week. You don't do that because it would make you sound like an idiot. When you go and see a band like Steel Panther, you don't take it seriously. You buy the ticket, you buy the album, whatever. That's the suspension of disbelief. And I've got this dead look on my face because I'm currently suspending my disbelief. I can't believe that you would do something so stupid and think that you've somehow won. Ridiculous. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. It's been a long one, but it was worth it. I'd just like to say a huge thank you to these people over here on Patreon. Maybe some of these guys don't agree with what I'm saying here. but they support my right to say it, which is cool. Maybe some of them will be so offended by this video they'll leave me on Patreon. So hopefully not. It's a good group over there and I love interacting with those guys. But I think most of them get it. So yeah, these are awesome people. They support me and they help to keep this channel going. Because yeah, it's harder and harder to make a living in the music industry. It's harder and harder to take time out of my day to make videos like this. So if you would like to check us out on Patreon and get involved in the conversation that's going on there, private Facebook group and transcription challenges and access to me all the time, you can click this button up here. You can subscribe by clicking this button down here and you will check out 2 more of my videos here and here. You may find something you like, you may not. Either way, I don't really mind. Thank you for watching the video. Please maybe watch another one and I'll see you again soon. Bye.